Captain Lisa Morgan commanded the USS Leviathan, the most advanced nuclear submarine in the U.S. Navy. Her mission was a routine six-month patrol in the Pacific, monitoring enemy naval activities and gathering intelligence on foreign submarine capabilities. But when the Leviathan failed to return to port after 2,000 days underwater, Navy officials assumed the worst. Then satellite imagery detected something impossible, the Leviathan surfacing in North Korean waters, with Captain Morgan personally delivering the submarine's nuclear arsenal and classified technology to America's enemies. Which city in the world are you watching this video from today? Please subscribe and support us for more stories. The USS Leviathan represented the pinnacle of American submarine technology when it departed Naval Base Kitsap on March 15, 2023, for what was designated as a routine six-month intelligence-gathering patrol in the Western Pacific. The Virginia-class attack submarine was equipped with the most advanced sonar systems, nuclear propulsion technology, and weapon systems available to the U.S. Navy. Captain Lisa Morgan had been selected to command the Leviathan based on her exceptional record during 15 years of submarine service, including 3 previous command assignments that had demonstrated her tactical expertise and leadership capabilities under the extreme conditions of extended underwater operations. Her psychological profile indicated the mental resilience necessary for commanding complex missions in isolated environments. The crew of 50 officers and enlisted personnel under Captain Morgan's command represented the elite of submarine warfare specialists, including nuclear engineers, sonar technicians, weapons specialists, and intelligence analysts who were trained to operate effectively during extended submerged operations that could last for months without surface contact. The mission parameters for the Leviathan's patrol included surveillance of foreign submarine activities in international waters, intelligence gathering on enemy naval capabilities, and testing of new stealth technologies that would enable American submarines to operate undetected in areas where foreign naval forces maintained heavy presence. The patrol route that had been planned for the Leviathan included areas of the Pacific Ocean where Chinese and North Korean submarine activities had been increasing, raising concerns about potential threats to American naval operations and allied shipping in the region. The intelligence collected during the patrol would inform strategic planning for future naval operations. Captain Morgan's briefing before departure had included classified information about enemy submarine capabilities and specific intelligence targets that the Leviathan was expected to monitor during the patrol. The mission was considered routine by Navy standards, with no unusual risks or special circumstances that would distinguish it from previous intelligence-gathering operations. The departure of the Leviathan from Naval Base Kitsap proceeded according to standard protocols, with the submarine submerging immediately after leaving port to begin the covert transit to its assigned patrol area. Standard procedure required the submarine to maintain radio silence during transit to avoid detection by enemy surveillance systems. The initial phase of the Leviathan's mission proceeded normally, with regular communication with Navy Command through encrypted channels that allowed monitoring of the submarine's progress without compromising operational security. Captain Morgan's reports indicated that the patrol was proceeding according to schedule with no unusual contacts or incidents. The first 60 days of the patrol were conducted in international waters where the Leviathan monitored shipping traffic and foreign naval activities while testing the effectiveness of new stealth technologies under operational conditions. The submarine's performance exceeded expectations with successful collection of valuable intelligence about enemy naval capabilities. Captain Morgan's leadership during the initial phase of the patrol was exemplary, with crew performance and morale remaining high despite the challenging conditions of extended underwater operations. The submarine's systems functioned perfectly, and the mission appeared to be developing into one of the most successful intelligence-gathering operations in recent years. But around day 70 of the patrol, subtle changes began appearing in Captain Morgan's communications with Navy Command that suggested growing concerns about the mission parameters and the strategic value of the intelligence being collected. Her reports began questioning the effectiveness of current surveillance techniques and suggesting alternative approaches to intelligence gathering. The psychological pressure of extended underwater operations was a recognized challenge for submarine crews. and Captain Morgan's apparent frustration was initially attributed to the normal stress of commanding complex missions in isolated environments. Navy Command provided standard support and encouragement while monitoring the situation for signs of more serious problems. Captain Morgan's concerns about the mission evolved into criticism of broader naval strategy and questions about the effectiveness of American naval operations in the Pacific region. Her communications suggested that she believed current approaches to intelligence gathering were inadequate and that more aggressive methods were necessary to address growing threats from foreign naval forces. The turning point in Captain Morgan's thinking appeared to occur around day 100 of the patrol, when the Leviathan encountered a foreign submarine that had been conducting surveillance operations against American naval facilities. The engagement revealed foreign capabilities that exceeded American intelligence estimates and demonstrated vulnerabilities in U.S. naval operations. Captain Morgan's report on the foreign submarine encounter included detailed analysis of enemy capabilities and strategic recommendations that went beyond her mission parameters. Her observations suggested that American naval forces were inadequately prepared for the sophistication of foreign submarine technology and that current intelligence gathering methods were insufficient for addressing emerging threats. The response from Navy Command to Captain Morgan's strategic assessments was dismissive, with senior officers indicating that tactical observations from individual patrol missions were not appropriate basis for broad strategic conclusions. The rejection of her analysis appeared to increase Captain Morgan's frustration with naval leadership and strategic planning. Around day 20 of the patrol, Captain Morgan began requesting permission to extend the mission beyond the planned 6-month duration, arguing that longer observation periods were necessary to gather comprehensive intelligence about enemy capabilities. Her requests were initially denied based on crew welfare concerns and operational scheduling requirements. The deterioration in Captain Morgan's relationship with Navy Command accelerated when she began submitting reports that criticized not only specific operational decisions, but also the competence of senior naval leadership. Her communications suggested that she believed Navy Command was ignoring crucial intelligence about enemy capabilities that could endanger American naval forces. Captain Morgan's requests for mission extensions became increasingly insistent, with arguments that the Leviathan's unique position and capabilities made it essential for the submarine to continue operations regardless of standard scheduling constraints. Her communications suggested that she viewed the mission as more important than compliance with operational orders from Navy Command. The decision to extend the Leviathan's patrol beyond the planned 6-month duration was made around day 50. When Captain Morgan reported that the submarine had identified patterns of enemy activity that required continued surveillance to understand fully. Navy Command approved a 30-day extension based on the potential intelligence value of continued operations. But Captain Morgan's definition of mission requirements continued to expand, with subsequent requests for additional extensions that pushed the patrol duration far beyond anything that had been previously approved for submarine operations. Her justifications for extended operations became increasingly sophisticated and persuasive, emphasizing the unique intelligence opportunities available to the Leviathan. The communication pattern between the Leviathan and Navy Command began to change around day 18, with Captain Morgan's reports becoming less frequent and more focused on operational details rather than strategic intelligence. The reduction in communication was initially attributed to operational security requirements for extended surveillance operations. Navy Command's attempts to establish regular communication with the Leviathan became increasingly difficult as Captain Morgan cited operational constraints that prevented normal reporting schedules. Her explanations for communication limitations were technically plausible, but represented significant departures from standard submarine communication protocols. The complete loss of communication with the Leviathan occurred on day 18. When the submarine failed to respond to scheduled contact attempts from Navy Command. Captain Morgan's last transmission had indicated that the submarine was proceeding to a new surveillance area that would require extended radio silence to avoid detection by enemy forces. The search and rescue operations that were initiated after the Leviathan's failure to maintain communication included surface vessels, aircraft, and other submarines that conducted extensive searches of the submarine's last known operating area. No trace of the vessel or its crew was found, despite intensive search efforts that continued for several weeks. The assumption that the Leviathan had been lost due to mechanical failure, enemy action, or operational accident was based on the complete absence of distress signals or evidence that the submarine had survived whatever incident had caused the loss of communication. The search area was expanded to cover thousands of square miles of ocean where the submarine might have encountered problems. The investigation into the Leviathan's disappearance included analysis of the submarine's maintenance records, crew psychological evaluations, and mission parameters to identify potential causes for the apparent loss of the vessel. No evidence was found to suggest that mechanical problems or crew issues had contributed to the submarine's disappearance. The intelligence assessment of potential enemy involvement in the Leviathan's disappearance considered the possibility that foreign naval forces had detected and attacked the submarine. But no evidence was found to support this theory. Enemy naval activities in the area had been minimal during the period when communication was lost. The memorial service for the crew of the USS Leviathan was conducted at Naval Base Kitsap with full military honors, recognizing the sacrifice of 150 naval personnel who were presumed to have died in service to their country. Captain Morgan was posthumously awarded commendations for her leadership during the extended patrol mission. The families of the Leviathan's crew were provided with standard death benefits and support services for military personnel lost in operational accidents. The classified nature of the submarine's mission meant that families were given limited information about the circumstances of the presumed loss, but they were assured that their loved ones had died serving their country. The shock of discovering that the Leviathan had not been lost came 20 days after the memorial service, when satellite surveillance detected an anomalous submarine contact surfacing in North Korean territorial waters. The initial assumption was that the contact was a North Korean submarine conducting routine operations near its home port. But detailed analysis of the satellite imagery revealed that the submarine surfacing in North Korean waters was definitely the USS Leviathan, identifiable through distinctive hull markings and configuration features that were unique to the missing American submarine. The discovery that the Leviathan was not only intact, but operating in enemy waters sent shockwaves through Navy command. The intelligence analysis of the Leviathan's presence in North Korean waters initially focused on the possibility that the submarine had been captured by enemy forces and was being operated under foreign control. This theory seemed to explain how an American submarine could be operating in enemy territory without detection by U.S. surveillance systems. But further analysis of the submarine's behavior and operational patterns revealed that the Leviathan was being operated with tactical sophistication that suggested command by experienced American personnel rather than foreign forces who would be unfamiliar with the submarine's complex systems and capabilities. The confirmation that Captain Morgan was personally involved in the Leviathan's operations in enemy waters came through communication intercepts that identified her voice directing the submarine's activities and coordinating with North Korean naval officials. The intercepts revealed that she was voluntarily cooperating with enemy forces rather than operating under duress. The intelligence gathered about Captain Morgan's activities in North Korean waters revealed that she was providing detailed briefings about American submarine capabilities, naval operations, and classified technologies that could significantly enhance enemy naval forces. Her cooperation appeared to be voluntary and enthusiastic rather than coerced. The scope of classified information that Captain Morgan was providing to enemy forces included technical specifications for the Leviathan's sonar systems, nuclear propulsion technology, weapons capabilities, and stealth features that represented decades of American submarine development. The intelligence value of her defection was enormous. The strategic implications of Captain Morgan's defection extended beyond the immediate loss of classified technology to include the potential compromise of American submarine operations throughout the Pacific region. Her knowledge of operational procedures, patrol routes, and tactical doctrines could be used to develop countermeasures against American submarine forces. The psychological analysis of Captain Morgan's motivation for defecting with the Leviathan suggested that her growing frustration with Navy command had evolved into ideological opposition to American naval strategy and eventual belief that her actions were serving broader interests of international peace and stability. The crew of the Leviathan appeared to be cooperating with Captain Morgan's defection, either voluntarily or under duress from their commanding officer. Intelligence analysts were unable to determine whether the crew had been willing participants in the defection or whether they had been coerced or deceived about the true nature of their mission. The diplomatic crisis created by the Leviathan's defection to North Korea included immediate demands from the U.S. government for the return of the submarine and its crew, along with threats of military action if the vessel was not returned within specified time limits. North Korean responses indicated that they considered the submarine's presence to be a voluntary defection rather than a crisis requiring resolution. The military response to the Leviathan's defection included immediate changes to submarine operational procedures, communication protocols, and psychological evaluation requirements for personnel in command positions. The defection had revealed vulnerabilities in submarine operations that required comprehensive reforms to prevent similar incidents. The damage assessment conducted after Captain Morgan's defection revealed that the loss of the Leviathan and its classified technology represented one of the most significant intelligence disasters in naval history. The submarine's advanced capabilities and the crew's detailed knowledge of American naval operations provided enemy forces with unprecedented insights into U.S. submarine warfare. The investigation into how Captain Morgan had been able to conduct an extended defection operation without detection revealed systemic problems with submarine command oversight and communication monitoring that had enabled her to operate independently for months without appropriate supervision from Navy command. The families of the Leviathan's crew faced the devastating revelation that their loved ones had not died heroically in service to their country, but had instead defected to enemy forces. The psychological impact of learning that presumed military heroes had become traitors was particularly traumatic for families who had been grieving their loss. The trial proceedings for Captain Morgan's treason would have to be conducted in absentia, as her location in North Korean territory made extradition impossible. The legal proceedings focused on documenting the extent of her betrayal and the damage caused by her defection, even though physical punishment was impossible. The long-term consequences of the Leviathan incident influenced submarine design, operational procedures, and command selection for years after Captain Morgan's defection. Her case became a study in how trusted military leaders could exploit their positions to cause devastating damage to national security. The USS Leviathan had indeed stayed underwater for 200 days during what appeared to be an extended intelligence-gathering mission. But Captain Morgan's true objective had been to deliver America's most advanced submarine technology directly to enemy forces. Her defection represented not just the loss of a valuable military asset, but the betrayal of every principle of naval service and national loyalty. The submarine that had been designed to protect American interests had become a weapon against them, operated by a commanding officer who had transformed from trusted military leader into one of the most damaging traitors in naval history. Captain Morgan's defection with the Leviathan demonstrated that the most sophisticated military technology was worthless if the people trusted to operate it chose to serve enemy interests instead. The 2,000 days that the Leviathan had spent underwater had not been devoted to serving American intelligence interests, but to planning and executing one of the most devastating defections in military history. Captain Morgan's decision to surface in enemy waters had delivered more than just a submarine to America's enemies. It had provided them with the knowledge and capabilities needed to challenge American naval supremacy in the Pacific. The trusted submarine commander who had been presumed dead had instead chosen to become a living weapon against her own country, using her position and expertise to cause damage that would influence naval warfare for generations. The Leviathan's emergence in North Korean waters had marked not just the end of a patrol mission, but the beginning of a new era of vulnerability for American naval operations that would require years to address.